Welcome back to the channel, everybody. You're watching The Real Freddy G, and on today's episode, I'm making one of my favorite Chinese takeout meals, ginger beef. Alright, so as I said before, we're making ginger beef today. This is one of my favorite dishes when I order Chinese takeout. Reason being, I love beef and I just love that really punchy flavor of ginger. My only qualm is that I often find that the ginger is not as strong as it should be if it's being called ginger beef. So what I'm doing here today is I'm punching up that flavor. A lot of really strong ginger flavors going on through this dish, along with all the classics, soy sauce, chilies, green onions. I'm going to be showing you guys a couple really important techniques to making this dish perfect. We're going to show you how to fry and double fry the actual beef, as well as making a really beautiful, luxurious sauce to go on top. And finally, a little bonus, I'm going to kind of walk you guys through my mind as I'm plating a dish like this and really show you guys what I'm thinking and why I'm doing things in a certain way. So, I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and I'll see you guys afterwards. Bye. So for the ginger beef, I'm going to be using flank steak today. We're going to cut this very thin, and if you guys watched my steak video, we know how to cut the flank steak. We could do it on a bias and against the grain. So you get nice fibrous pieces like that, right? And you can see the grain going across this way. That's what we're looking for. If you go the other way, it's going to be a very chewy bite. So now that we have all the beef cut up, just throw into a bowl here on the side. We're going to start doing the marinade. So marinade is fairly simple. We're going to go in with 3 cloves of garlic here. I've just minced that up. I'm going to go in with roughly 2 to 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And then a teaspoon of sesame oil. Now I'm using sambal oelek here. You can use sriracha or any other sort of chili paste you might have at home. I just like the flavor that this gives to this dish. And I know we put soy sauce in it already, but I'm going to put about a teaspoon of salt in there as well. And then a very small pinch of MSG. A couple cracks of black pepper. Now this is another little secret ingredient is baking powder. What this is doing is actually tenderizing the meat, right? Because I'm going to let this marinate for a couple hours before I actually start frying it. So we're going to put a teaspoon of this in here. And as I mix it through, it's going to slowly tenderize the meat all the way through. We're going to put 1 egg in as well, whole, and then as we mix it, it's going to break up. You can scramble beforehand if you want to, not a big deal, but that's that. Go in with the whites of 2 green onions. We'll save the green part for afterwards. We'll do a very fine slice on that. And then it wouldn't be ginger beef without the ginger. Nice little prep hack for this. Use a spoon, and this is how you can peel the skin off ginger without taking too much of the flesh away from it. So I'm using roughly about a thumb-sized piece of ginger here. My thumb, so for scale. So from this point down, I'm just going to cut long pieces like this. And we're not going to mince this because I like having these little chunks of ginger in the dish. We'll cut them into long pieces. And then we're going to just turn them sideways. We're going to cut the opposite direction. What it's going to do is give us bâtonnets. These nice, long, thin pieces like this. And that's what's going to go in. So when that fries up, it'll become nice and crispy and give a really wicked flavor to the dish. And then obviously you can use tongs or a fork, something like that. I'm going to use Old Faithful here. So now that all the ingredients are incorporated, I'm gonna let this sit in the fridge for about an hour or two, and then we're gonna get to the frying part. So this is right before the frying process. It's a little thing I like to do just to get a really nice crispy final product. So what I'm gonna do is take the meat and the marinade, throw in this cornstarch and flour mixture I have here, and then we're gonna put it on the wire rack. And we're gonna let it sit for about 2 minutes, and what that's gonna do is get a really dry exterior, and then when we fry that, we're gonna get an extra crispy coating on this beef. So always keep one hand wet, one hand dry, so you don't get clumpy fingers. We're just gonna take the pieces like this, right? Give a little toss. Press in all that flour and cornstarch. So we get a piece that's completely coated. And then just gonna rest it on the rack here and continue the process with the rest of it. Okay, so we've got all the beef battered now. So we have all these solids here, the ginger and the green onions. We're actually gonna use all that in the sauce after I'm done frying all the meat. So I'm gonna clean all this stuff up now, and then we're gonna get to frying. Okay, so I've got my cast iron with just a neutral oil, just like canola or sunflower oil. We've got it up to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We're gonna do this in 2 fries. Again, the 2 fries is just to make sure this is as crispy as possible. So make sure when you're doing this, you're going in nice and slow and dropping the meat in away from you. All right, because we don't want any oil splashing back and causing any burns. So I'm gonna go with 5-6 pieces at a time there. Let that fry up. Should only take about 2 minutes. And then we're gonna take it out and leave it on some paper towel just to drain out. Okay, so I've let this go for about 1.5 minutes. Because these are cut so thin, it's not gonna take very long. So we've got the beef now, it's cooked. We're gonna take it out. We're gonna put it on this paper towel here. Let it drain of oil. We're gonna let that rest until we're done cooking all the rest of the beef here. And then after that, we're gonna give it one final cook, and that'll get it to that nice crispy consistency that we want. Okay, so we got the first fry done on the batch of beef. Now I've got the oil set at the same temperature, 350, but I've let this sit for 2 minutes. We're gonna throw this back in, give it one more fry, and we're gonna see a big difference in this beef. So as you can see right now, we've got this light golden color. We're gonna get a real nice hard brown crispy color on the outside, and all this batter is gonna become nice and hard and crispy. So I have the wire rack set up again. We're not gonna put it just straight down on paper towel, because what it's doing, if you put anything fried on a flat surface, you're steaming the underneath, and we're not gonna get that consistency that we want. So we're gonna go in again, same rules. Make sure it goes away from you. And this one you're not gonna fry for nearly as long, maybe about half the time. We also don't wanna burn this. The beef is already cooked. We're just looking for color and texture here. Okay, so we've let this go for about 1 minute here. And as you can see, the difference is night and day. All right, got that nice dark brown color in there. Okay, so while this other batch is frying, I just want to show you guys. So this is what double fried looks like. This was after the first fry. So little sound test. Beautiful. See, we're actually pulling away the batter. Okay, so we have all the beef fried off. Now the second most important part of this whole process, the sauce. So you guys remember all the ginger and green onion and the marinade that we had from the beef earlier? Well, we're going to use that right now. Right? We don't want to burn this. We're just trying to, bring the flavors out a little bit here. So I'm going to go in here with a 1/2 cup of soy sauce. I'm going with a 1/4 cup of ketchup. I'm going with 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. And we're going to take sambal again. And we're going to put in about a tablespoon of sambal inside. You don't have to put this in, I just like the extra heat. We're going to go in with a 1/4 cup of sugar. So now we're just going to stir this all up, and we're going to start letting it reduce. So you got to make sure when you're cooking this sauce, you're constantly stirring it. You don't want this sticking to the bottom, because there is a lot of sugar both in the ketchup and just the straight white sugar. Has more chance of caramelization, and then from caramelization, burning. So constantly stirring, making sure the edges are scraped clean. We're at the consistency I want it to be right now. You got to remember, in that batter on that beef is cornstarch, and that's a natural thickener. So We're gonna get it to just before that really sticky consistency, because once we put the beef in there, it'll get there when it starts fusing together. So start adding the beef in. Make sure you're constantly just shaking the pan. I'm fully incorporating the beef into the sauce. It's at the point where every bit of it is covered. So I'm going to take this off the heat now. We're just going to leave it on the side. Then we're going to start getting to plating this. So let's start to plate. We're just going to fill up this shallow bowl here, right down the center. You want to try and get height on this. All right. So we're going to keep on piling towards the middle. If it falls off to the side, it's okay. You can pick it up afterwards too. The smell coming off of this right now is absolutely amazing. We'll go with one more piece on the very top. Nice little mountain of ginger beef. And then over here now, and now all our garnishes. So, if you guys recall, I have my green onions here in ice water, and what that's doing is going to get us that beautiful curly look to these green onions. Just going to throw them a little bit of paper towel here so all that excess water comes out. While that's drying off, we're going to cut a little bit of chili. I'm going to keep the seeds in these ones because these aren't super spicy, but I am going to cut these very thin. So let's begin to plate. Go in with a few of these red chilies just placed around. I'm going with some green onions now. I'm going to do a bit of a tower of green onions in the middle here because I think they just look super impressive. And then I'm just going to go in with a sprinkle of sesame seeds in and around the dish here. And that right there is the real Freddie G's ginger beef. All right, well, the moment I've been waiting for this whole time. We're actually gonna dig into this. I'm gonna try and get a bite of everything in here. A little bit of green onion, a little bit of chili, and obviously a little bit of the ginger beef. That whole bite right there is everything I want out of that dish. You know, you have a little bit of the spice in the chili, that tanginess, and that really strong forward flavor of the ginger. The beef has a great texture. Still is crispy, even though we put all that sauce on there. Because we double fried it, it kept the crisp, and it kept all those flavors locked in that we marinated it with. Now I did just the beef here for this one. Obviously you can make this with rice. You can do this with, like lo mein noodles. I just wanted to just show you guys the beef because I feel the rice and the noodles are very simple to do. And I just want all killer, no filler here. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And until next time, everybody, dinner is Freddy. See ya.